right, so 13.3, we're going to talk about truth in lending, which may be a phrase you've heard, and it may not at all be a phrase you've heard before, but let me tell you where it's coming from. The Truth in Lending Act was passed in 1968 and addressed two major issues. Number one, how can we tell the true annual interest rate the lender is charging? And number two, how much of the finance charge are we entitled to save if we pay a loan off early? Okay, so if you pay the car off early, you pay the house off early, you pay the credit card off early, how much should you get back of what you would have paid? Right, so like Ann and Andy who bought the refrigerator last section, if they didn't make those 24 payments and they decided halfway through, I'm done with owing money on this refrigerator, I'm just going to pay it off, what then? Should they still have to pay all the interest for the full 2 years? That's the question. Everybody with me? Okay. Now, some accounts are set up that, yes, they would pay all of that interest for the 2 years. It depends on the terms of the contract. And others are set up that they would be entitled to receive some of that interest money off, like a discounted rate because they paid it early. All right. If you don't have the notes printed out, just know that these notes are already typed out in Moodle, so you'll have these already. So I'm going to go on from the screen, even if you're not done writing, because they're in Moodle already, written and typed. Oh. Okay. Not everything is, but this part is. All right. The thing we're going to need is we're going to need Table 5 in your book, and it's on page 707. This is known as the true annual interest rate, and it's standardized by the Truth in Lending Act. So when you get to your test, I will have a printout of this particular chart. It's the only chart you're going to need besides the formulas we've been working with. We're not going to need other charts, but you do need the chart on page 707. So if you have your book, flip to it. If you don't, you'll see it later. All right, so as you take a look at this, if you are not where you can actually have a book with you, try and look over on a neighbor's just so you can see what I'm seeing. You've got this table 5. It's the annual percentage rate. We've talked about APR last time for a monthly payment loan. Along the left-hand side, you see the number of monthly payments, 6, 12, 18, and so forth. And then along the top, you see the APR rates, 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, and so forth. Okay? It also tells you that this finance charges per $100 of amounts financed. So for instance, if you had a finance amount that you owed on a car and you went out and you paid $25,000 for a car, you'd take that $25,000 and you would divide by 100 to find the amount per 100. Remember, the word per means division. That's what it means. Okay? So this is how you use that table, even though you see numbers in this table that look like, why would I have borrowed $3.83? You probably wouldn't have, okay? But it's per $100. So that's why it sort of looks odd, okay? All right, so we need this table. We're going to need this as we move forward, but let's actually get back to some of our friends that we met last section, Ann and Andy. Recall Ann and Andy from 13.2, the ones who bought the refrigerator. Shortly after the refrigerator died, the dishwasher died, because this is what happens. Appliances die. Just in case you weren't aware. They do. Just like your car, right? It dies too and things. Dishwasher died. They decided to finance a new dishwasher. Apparently they did not learn their lesson the first time. Most of us don't, just for the record. It cost $500 for this dishwasher with $100 down, but this loan was only at 6% add-on interest for 18 months. So there's not a grace period like last time. Okay? They just are going to start paying payments on this payment and say 6% add-on interest. 18 months. So we're going to find the APR for their loan. So that's where we're going to start. All right, so we're going to go through several steps. Now, I'm putting these in step 1, 2, 3 sort of format. You may see some of them in your book listed out where they're telling you what steps to do. You also may see the question given to you exactly like this. You're still going to do these steps, okay? Whether the book says this is step 1, fill in the answer, this is step 2, fill in. These are the steps to finding the answer to this question. Everybody with me? Okay, I got mostly nods. We're going to go with that. All right, first we have to find out the amount that they financed. You guys learned how to do that last section. How do we find out how much they financed? Cost minus, what was that? The down payment. So this is $500 minus $100 for our dishwasher, right? So how much are they financing? $400. Second issue is to find the finance charge. Okay, so the finance charge, as it's talking about, is the add-on interest part. It's how much interest they're paying. It's this I equal PRT formula. Okay, so your I equal PRT is coming into play anytime you're finding add-on or simple interest. So our p-value's what? 400, good, because that's the amount of financing that we've done. What is our R value in this problem? Yep, I know some of you don't have it printed out. It's right here. It's the 6%, so it would be 0.06. And what is the time in this one? 1.5 years. Okay, so it is 18 months. Keep time. Every time you got to remind yourself we got to turn it into years. That is 1.5 years. This is 1.5. All right. So 400 times 0.06 times 1.5. What is our finance charge? $36.
Wow.
Okay, everybody good so far?
Saved me the trouble.
Okay. The next part is the part you haven't done before. Okay? Find the finance charge per $100. Okay? The language kind of tells you what you should be doing. It's the finance charge, which was step 2, which was the $36. I'll write a formula for this in a minute, but and then what's it say we should be doing?
No, 6.0% here.
Yep. There's one other thing that we're going to actually be doing is we're going to find the finance charge, and the finance charge is the amount as a percentage. So it's the $36 divided by the amount that we actually financed. That is the amount that we borrowed. So this is the 400. Again, I'm going to write this down in a formula in a moment. But we actually have to figure out the percentage of what we financed, not just the finance charge amount. Okay, it's 36 out of 400, which would be a far less percent than if it were, say, 36 out of 200, right? So that's what's going on here. And then we're going to multiply by $100. Okay? So we've got 36 over 400 times 100. What number does this give you? It is 9. All right, so let me write the formula as I promised you. This is called H. H is the finance charge divided by, finance charge. Let's write it as charge. Divided by the amount financed, or the finance amount, if you will.
$9 divided by...
And then it's times the $100. Okay, so this number's 9. All right, so let's take a look at step 4. Exactly. Yep. All right, so step 4 is where the table comes into play. So step 4 uses the table 5. You locate the nearest H value in the correct row and column. All right, so we locate the amount of months first on the left. So if you go down the left-hand side, we're looking for which number? 18 months, because this is an 18-month loan. So we're going to find 18 months along the left-hand side, and you're going to take that 18-month column and you're going to go towards the right. Everybody with me? 18 months on the left, and you move along that row to the right. And you move along that row until you find the number in that row that is the closest to the number 9.
Well, the closest we can ever get is $8.93.
Yes. So does everyone who does have a book see the 893 and the 935? Okay, I understand that neither of those are exactly 9. You're just going to go with whichever one's closest. And 893, like Leah said, is closer than the 935. So we're going to go to 893. Once you get to 893, you follow that column up to the top, and it tells you a percentage rate. So if you take 893 up to the top, what percent is that? It's 11%. Okay? So here's what we did. We went down the column and found the 18 months. We went across the column and we found 8.93 because it's the closest we could do. We went back up the column and we found out that that was 11%. That's visually what I was flinging my arms around doing, right? Go down, go right, go up. It's like you're dancing or something. Okay, so this ended up being an APR of 11%. Whoops. Note, we'll put one note in here before we pause for today. Note, this is nearly double the add-on rate for this particular problem. The add-on rate was how much? How much was the add-on interest rate? It was 6% originally, right? And the actual annual percentage rate was 11%. That is how much annually you paid for the ability to make this loan. Yes, Brittany?
Why couldn't they just hand wash it so they have enough money to pay for it?
That would have been a better idea, don't you think? Yeah, I think so too. They also probably could have not bought one brand new. There's other options, right? All right. We're going to pause here today, and I want you guys